Each semester of University of Success is made up of a series of lessons. And each lesson comes from a leading success expert, a titan of industry, a trailblazer for the times in which they lived, someone who achieved mastery in their particular field of endeavor. And our first semester is comprised of 5 lessons. Now, Mandino wrote the introduction for this book. He compiled all the lessons and organized them in a progressive way to provide a pathway to success. And the actual curriculum lessons are taught by 50 thought leaders. And today's lesson comes from a man who was born in 1915 in Cleveland, Ohio. He graduated from college in 1935, and in 1936 he began his long and celebrated journalism career, writing for the Paris edition of the New York Herald Tribune. He covered Europe as a war correspondent for the New York News during World War II. He later became a freelance writer and a public speaker who often lectured on sexual and mental health. As an activist journalist, he often wrote about the social problems of his day, and he published his essays and critiques in national magazines and leading newspapers, for which he often received very prestigious awards over the course of his life and career. This man's writing and speaking eventually led him to television, where he produced a number of specials himself and appeared in even more shows and documentaries as a correspondent. He soon went on to conquer radio. This is a Renaissance man right here, working at a few networks as a producer and correspondent on a number of series. His name was Howard Whitman. And in 1956, Howard Whitman wrote a book called Success is Within You. Success is Within You. And our guiding thought for today's lesson comes from Howard Whitman, who wrote, "Until you acquire 5 essential ingredients, success will never be success." Until you acquire 5 essential ingredients, success will never be success. On Wednesday, January 29th, 1975, Howard Whitman suffered a stroke, and he left his earthly body, ascending to another realm of existence. Mr. Whitman lived on this planet for 60 years, and his legacy of teaching is our curriculum for today's lesson, how to fashion your own brand of success. So Mr. Whitman goes on to identify 5 constant factors of success. So in other words, if you were to identify X number of successful people and make an in-depth case study of those X number of successful people, according to Mr. Whitman, you would most likely find these 5 factors present in their successful lives. Number 1, purpose. This is a word we use here a lot. Purpose. This is what he writes. One must know that in whatever he does, he is moving forward toward a goal. Aimlessness is the worst enemy of success. Now, underline that, circle, exclamation point, bold. Aimlessness is the worst enemy of success. Success, this is what he writes, success, to be true, must have an abiding sense of purpose. Otherwise, though one may vegetate successfully, one cannot live successfully. Purpose. We've spent much time in this space talking about purpose, and he notes here that purpose is a constant factor of success. So your success has to come to you and be experienced by you within the context of a larger purpose that is part of your consciousness. Purpose is really key. If you're just working to achieve material success, when you get it, that will never be enough for you. If there's not a larger purpose that is satisfying your soul, it really will not be enough for you. Aimlessness is the worst enemy of success. There has to be a larger intention behind you getting up and going out into the world every day. For what? What are you doing it for? Well, number 2 here is success has the intrinsic character of a batting average. This is a little more esoteric, but I think it'll resonate. It does not come all in one piece or all in one play. Not every hour nor every day is uniformly successful. Rather, there are upturns in success separated by valleys of failure. Every day is not a winning day. It's just not. Every day is not a walk in heaven. Success doesn't tend to look like that, but it's your batting average. When you average out the good and the bad and the ups and downs, am I moving in the right direction? That is a barometer of success. That's what he's saying here. That's what success is. As long as you're moving in the right direction according to your purpose. You can see how foundational purpose is, because if you don't know what your purpose is, how do you gauge whether or not you're moving the ball in the right direction? That's what he's trying to say here. You'll have hits of things. Things will come. A new dress will show up. A ticket to the opera will show up. There'll be hits of things that feel good and that you experience that tickle your emotions and make you feel like, oh, wow, that's great. And yet they'll fade and they'll pass, and this deep, dark, looming sense of aimlessness will return, because those things didn't hit within the context of a larger purpose that you're going to meet, that you're here to fulfill. One of the reasons why we will self-define as not successful is because we compare ourselves to other people. We put people on pedestals. We put them as above us because of the material possessions that they have and the prominence that they have and the very public and wealthy spaces that they occupy in the public sphere and in the public square. And we compare ourselves to that. And those feelings of a lack of success are coming from those comparisons. It's an act of violence to compare yourself to someone else and your life and your mission to someone else's. It's an act of violence. It's self-punitive. It's unnecessary. We are each divine, original people. And you don't have to compare yourself, and nor do I, to anyone. There is no other fingerprint on this planet like yours. If that doesn't speak to our own uniqueness. Number 3, a third constant ingredient of success is the price of it. There is no success for free. The joy of success, it seems, must be counterbalanced by the effort to achieve it. And that's a mystical little aspect of human character which exists in all of us. Perhaps this is the yin and yang of existence in the Western world. The hooked half circle of joy nestles against the half circle of effort. Thus, tension and harmony share their oneness within the all-embracing arc. And in quite the same relationship, success and the price of it coexist as an inseparable whole. That is very true. That is very true. The joy you experience is directly related and proportional to the effort that it took you to achieve it. When somebody hands you something, you know, when your daddy just gives you the presidency of the company that he spent 50 years building, you're going to receive it, but not the same way that as if you started in the mailroom and worked your way up to the front desk and worked your way up to the back cubicle and worked your way to a glass office on the corner and then worked your way up to the executive floor and then worked your way up to a senior vice presidency and then were handed the presidency of the company. That effort will create a whole other level of joy in your experience. A fourth essential ingredient without which success is not success is satisfaction. Success must be enjoyed. It may be won with tears, but it must be crowned with laughter. Otherwise, the effort may be worthwhile. It may be good or even great, but for the individual, without the inner laughter, which is known by another name as satisfaction, there can hardly be success. This has become one of the strange anomalies of our time, that so many have all the outward trappings of success without the essential inner trappings of it. They don't feel success. Instead of warmth inside, there is barrenness. The satisfaction of success need not be identifiable by anyone else or to anyone else, so long as the person himself knows it is there. Satisfaction, stemming largely from an attitude, is available to all in that it begins inside a central nugget deep in the strata of our souls. The last one here, number 5, and this to me is number 1. but it comes as a result of being grounded in the other four. Yeah. Number 5, a final basic element of success is spirituality. It is hard to imagine anyone feeling successful without also feeling related somehow to the greater purposes of life and to the author of those purposes. Success is no straitjacket. It is no mold into which all must be poured. It is no rigid stamp. It is as individual as our fingerprints or the look in our eyes. All we need is the courage to be and realize ourselves. That last sentence is the key to everything. Really, that's the definition of success. The courage to be and realize ourselves. It takes a lot of courage to be yourself. If used properly, what material success can do for you is allow you the opportunity to be yourself, your real authentic self. For example, with a lot of money, you don't have to get up and go work for somebody doing something that you don't really want to do. With a lot of money, you can create your own business and do exactly what you want to do. You can be who you want to be in life. That's just the truth. So material success has a purpose. It has a function. If you use it wisely, it can help you to create an authentic life. Where many people get stuck is trying to wait for the material things to create an authentic life. You don't have to wait for that. This is a big one because a lot of people are waiting for the material to create the authenticity. The shift we want to make is to create the authenticity and let the authenticity create the material. Focus on creating an authentic life experience. Have the values you want to have, get the instruction on those values, and then practice those values. Cultivate the character you want to have. That's what the world is going to do. That's the function of the matrix, to keep you in a slave consciousness. That's what the matrix does, so that the architects and the agents can control you. Now, when you become conscious and see it for what it is, you have another level of responsibility in your life. You have God consciousness. So you know that nobody can make you a slave because you come from the Creator. And the Creator is expressing itself as you on this planet. When you know that, you can't be made to feel that you're not successful. If you take out a calculator and you put in some numbers, I liken that to putting in some information. You read a book and you hit the plus sign. You read another book and you go, oh, everything I read there is not quite true. Then you put in another number and you put the minus sign. And you might multiply and you might divide. But at some point in your life, you've got to hit the equal sign and know that you know that you know. You have to just hit that equal sign and know that you know, I am this sum. And then begin to live your life and create your life knowing that you are that sum. I know I'm this. I'm creating from this point of knowing. Very briefly, how am I fashioning my own brand of success? This is where I am. I have reached a place in my consciousness that I realize that life is an inside experience. Really what your life is the summation and the quality of the thoughts that you're thinking every minute of every day. That's really what your life is. The thoughts that you are thinking every single day. That's what life is. It's an inside experience. And so no matter what happens to me externally, I'm still having this inside experience about it. And so success to me, being spiritually rich and spiritually wealthy, is success. So even the darkness has its holy purpose if you have the consciousness to process it that way. It's important to be grounded in your purpose.